Yep, we're good. Welcome everybody to the Music City Writers Room. I'm your co-host, John Clinebell. We got Scott Barrier over here.
Yes, and we've got our awesome guests tonight, and we really appreciate them being here. Yep, look, hey, it's working. It came on.
We are.
So we have Olin Wallace here tonight with us.
Appreciate you guys having me here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Jan Buckingham, who should be in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. We're still trying to get her in there.
Sure.
Yeah, she should be with her track record, and maybe she'll share some of that with us in the next hour. And of course, Mariano, and I always get your last name wrong, so I'm
You're good. Mariano Malia.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Because I was going to go Malia,
name.
which
Thank
obviously is not correct because it's Malia.
You got it. There
All
it
right,
is.
I'll get it memorized.
I get a lot of both though, so
Malia. Very musical.
thank
Very
you.
nice.
Yes,
I appreciate
he's a
that.
musical dude, so it works out well.
Well.
It's a song release day for you.
Yes.
It is. Yes, sir. I just released.
What's the story with the song?
Yeah. So this song I wrote it about a year ago with someone you know very well, Mary Howler.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Very sweet.
So
Very
she
sweet lady.
actually
Yeah.
she had a
She's cool.
brief and she reached out to me and she said, "Hey, would you like to work on this brief with me?" And it was actually for a car commercial, and hence the name "The Road Is Always Better," and the tagline is
Interesting.
"The road is always better when I got you."
All right,
So it was initially, we were writing towards that brief, but really it became a song that was about so much more than just a car. Obviously, it was about pursuing a dream, having a passion, and having all the challenges of the road and the twists and turns, and really at the end saying, the road is always better in good company. And when you surround yourself with people that have their head on their shoulders, they're loved ones that they care about you and you care about them, and you can lean on each other in the tough times, that's what makes this road so
Nice.
much better than walking it
Right.
alone.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
that's kind of the moral of the story on that one. So excited to have it out. And,
Congratulations,
Yeah,
man.
congrats
That's
on that.
phenomenal.
Thank you
yeah,
so
a little
much. I
applause for that
appreciate
one.
it.
So did you? Now, I right in the beginning you were saying. Now, did you write it for a specific thing? Is that what you said?
For a
It was-
sync
but-
thing, right?
But it turned
Yeah.
into more than that.
Yes.
It turned into more than that. Okay.
Yes, and we still haven't gotten our car commercial, but we're hoping that it's gonna come. So
It's on the way. You just get at it a little different direction.
yeah. You never
fun.
know where the road's gonna leave you, right?
Exactly.
We'll get there.
Well, that's very cool. So I assume it's on all platforms. They can find it
It
anywhere
is.
and everywhere in the world.
Yes.
And so now, are you gonna do any touring this year to follow up with your singles and all that
Yeah,
stuff? Or are you
I
gonna
don't know that it's gonna be like necessarily a tour, but there are gonna be shows throughout
Okay.
the throughout the year. It might not be like a specific like, oh, we're going here,
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
But I am planning to get back to Delaware to do some shows in my
Nice.
home state, and probably do some shows in Pennsylvania as well.
Okay.
While I'm in the area, and and then just stuff in Nashville as well.
Cool.
So
Well,
yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Jan Buckingham. For those who don't know, she's had a couple cuts over the years. Everything from Whitney Houston to Pam Tillis to Engelbert Humperdinck, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, who? Whole generation's like, who the heck is that?
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, it's sort of like Santa Claus's list is like, how many kids are on that list? You're like, and it rolls all the way across to the next room. That's how many cuts she has.
Oh,
She's
my.
got a ton of cuts. Anyway, I won't brag
awesome.
on you too
Thank
much.
you,
So,
thank you.
but yeah. So what's new in your life? You
Well, I've been walking a lot, and that's made me feel fabulous. So I
Excellent.
love to walk, and also then so my perfect day is get up, take a walk, write a song, play a gig, watch Andy of Mayberry, and go to sleep.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
That's a
Andy
perfect
and
day.
Mayberry.
That's a good day.
how much of that did you do today?
Well, I took the walks and I wrote a song, and now and then I played a gig, and now I'm here doing this. And then when I go home, probably just be time for a little Tonight Show and Seth Meyer, because it's going to be late.
Okay.
Okay.
You gonna miss Andy Griffith?
Yeah, because Andy's on from 9 to 10,
Oh.
but I'll still be here.
You gotta get the CD pack. Then you can just put them on whenever.
When you
Or
write, are you writing with other people, or is it every day you like to write by yourself, and then you're
well,
also
I
writing with
book-
others? Or?
I can't remember 2 hours ago. I've got the memory of a gnat. So everything is in the book. And a lot of days I book co-writes, and then other times I think of songs and just write them right quick by myself. So
Great.
I write both ways.
And so, would you say like you just have to write every day? It's just something you love to
Oh,
do.
I just love to do it.
Yeah, isn't it
I
great?
just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went to LA and I did some acting, but then after I was starting to be in movies and sitcoms and stuff, you'd sit there waiting for them to change the lights and stuff. I'd be writing songs sitting there, and finally I decided that's enough, so I left LA and came back home because what I wanted to do the rest of my life is write.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's what I love.
Here you are still doing it every day.
Yeah,
That's
I
phenomenal.
love it. I love it. With a lot of kids, and I mentor these 20-something kids, but then they mentor me, and they've taught me how to use DistroKid to distribute my songs through all the streaming platforms.
DistroKid's great, isn't
yeah,
it?
Yeah, I've learned so much from these kids.
Makes it so easy to like do the splits and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's all easy.
It's great.
Just fill out the form and you're done.
Yeah.
And one of the things I know I've talked to some people about this, how when you get into songwriting, it's sort of a never-ending, expanding universe, and we're always learning. As long as we're in it, the whole time that we're in this, we're always learning something new. Music is changing. You know, you have hybrids, and it's always shifting. And so, for songwriters like ourselves, we've got to kind of keep up with that, because it's always changing. And I think that's part of that. Like you said, you're always learning something from everybody.
Yeah.
And so I'm always get into a room writing, and I'm always pulling from other people and watching them and paying attention to what they do. I'm like, oh, I like how they did that. So you mentioned that about how you're learning from these younger
I learn
artists
from
and
them,
writers.
and they learn from me, and it's just really a symbiotic relationship.
It's great.
Yes, yeah.
Get
and
taught
so-
all the new slang that's coming out.
Oh,
trying to keep
yeah,
up with
yeah.
Everything and
what are the newest words? I don't even know.
I
Oh, come on now! You're gonna throw it out there? You don't know?
Man, I don't even. It changes. That's like you're saying how music changes. I feel like every day there's a new word you're trying to learn and figure it out. And
Yes.
Yep.
I heard a new thing that was kind of funny. I was at a round, and somebody described his song as he called it emo, which is like yeehaw emo, I guess, like country emo.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
emo.
Emo music, yeah.
But like with a yee.
Oh, Yemo. Okay. I get it.
Yeah. So I was
See,
like, oh,
that's all the
that's new.
digits. Is it new, or they're just taking stuff and slamming it together?
Branding.
I mean, it was new
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
I hadn't
Mix a
heard
couple
it.
words together.
Yeah, that's funny. And I was writing with the.
But if you have to
16-year-old
describe what it is, it makes it. It's like it doesn't work, right? If you have to like describe it in order
Yeah.
for people to understand it, it might not be the best.
Yeah, it might
That's
not.
branding.
It might not be.
I don't
And that's
know.
the
I'm
best
just saying.
songwriting advice that there is. You have to describe the song.
Actually, that's a
Oh,
good point.
that is a
Rewrite it.
very
That's a
good
very good
point.
point. There are so many times where I
Oh,
see.
gosh.
I mean, I understand
Yes.
it's just part of the like you do the round, like you tell the story of the song and things like that. But there's some times where people really they go above and beyond, and it's almost like they're describing what the song is about. It feels like in a way because maybe somebody doesn't really understand. People won't
So you're
understand
gonna
what the
miss it.
song is about if they don't listen carefully or something like that.
And it's kind of
It's kind of interesting.
It's like a newer songwriter or artist thing where they have to really tell you about their whole life and then get into it. We all have done it, so I'm not judging.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
really not.
Oh, yeah.
But when you start out, you're like, man, you feel like you have to describe it, but you do reach a point, and I agree. Let the song do the talking. And if it doesn't, there's a problem, like you're talking about. Then rewrite it or whatever, or
Right.
play something else.
Or just be Bon Iver, where like
Yeah.
you're like, this doesn't make sense, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, it
Well,
sounds
there's
really
that.
cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's about to get weird, people.
Yeah,
just
sometimes
warn
you
us.
write to the hook, sometimes you write to the feeling, and it's a completely different
Yeah.
kind of animal that you're going for when you're making that.
Well, that is true, but but you're correct. I mean, there's like you're sitting there, you're like, okay, I just want to hear the song. I just want to hear the song. Like, no offense. It's great that we just did a therapy session from the stage. Great, that's awesome. But
Also, there's something like with. I think part of the magic of being a listener of music is that you get to interpret the song and have your own understanding of the song and your own feelings that come with it. And when somebody's telling you what to feel and what to expect, it almost is like, oh, okay, you're kind of like trying to. My experience of the song is now different because like you've kind of injected your own like
Yeah.
this is what the song's about. It's like, oh, you kind of like maybe I don't know, you might have blown the punchline for me, or maybe I heard something a little different in that lyric that could have been, I don't know, just a little more personal to me.
And
It's,
and like
kinda
there's
funny.
one of my favorite examples. So there was a recent song that came out. I think it was 2 years ago. The Painter by Cody Johnson. That song came out, and I watched each of the writers on it play it at different shows, and every person that plays it was like, "This is what I was writing towards in my own mind when writing the song." And it was everybody was writing because they had their own interpretation of what was really being done with the song. And as a listener, I had a completely different one than all three of them.
That's crazy.
And we all had our own,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the song kind of meant to you. And it was so cool to really see, like, how everybody had, like, we came up with this thing collaboratively, but we all had, this is what this line really meant to me, and this is what this piece really meant. And it was so much fun, like, to hear it get released, and then after the fact to go listen to those writers and be like, oh wow, like now that you say that, I totally understand like that perspective of it. That's not exactly what it meant to me, but it's so cool that like you wrote it from that angle, and that's how your brain worked with it. And that was one of my like you said, you know, like I want my own interpretation of the song. So like sometimes when it's over explained, you miss it. Or like it's saturated, and you kind of don't really get your own perspective because you never know what it's gonna be. When you have a listener. So yeah, I do enjoy that. That's my like one of my good examples of kind of like that in practice.
Very interesting. Yeah,
So,
that you can have like different writers having different interpretations of the song, and then the listeners, like that's the cool thing about writing too, is like we write a song, put it out there, and then it's kind of out of our control how people take it in. Like
and we do hope that they kind of see themselves in the song, like you're saying. You kind of put yourself in it and go, yeah, that sort of relates to my life in some way, shape, or form. And you
like to think, right?
One would think.
That's what you hope.
We hope so.
That's the
so,
dream.
yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah, you do.
I've got a song called "Gonna Get Me a Dog," and the way I started with you always want to say something funny to get them into it. So I always say I like to preface this song by saying, after 2 divorces and many a failed relationship, I discovered the pure sure cure for broken heart. And the pure sure cure is not liquor, it's not drugs, it's not another relationship. The pure sure cure for broken heart is what I talk about in this song. And then I start singing, "Gonna Get Me a Dog," and
That's so fun.
everybody gets into it.
And that relates back to what we were saying too. Is like it's talking about it, but you never give away the song.
Yes, exactly. You don't tell them the title.
What you're actually there's no title. There's no exact what the song's about. It's the perfect lead into what you're gonna
Right,
play.
exactly.
And
That's great.
I love that.
That's like
I love that
probably
song.
the perfect intro to that song.
Yeah, and it doesn't take too long. You get right to it, and you get people hooked. That's the beautiful thing. And if you can get away with it without telling them the title, that's a beautiful thing. That's an awesome thing.
And I do think it's correct. Like the pure sure cure is a dog. 100%. I can attest.
Oh yes, we have 3.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. At least one.
All right, now we got to hear some dog stories. We're gonna hear some dog stories.
Oh man, I can go 2 ways with this.
What are the 2 ways?
Well, I mean, I have a dog. I've got him. He was my little COVID baby when everybody was stuck inside,
Aw.
and I love him to death. And he's the sweetest being that there is. He's the
What
cuddle
kind of
bug when
dog?
you need him. He is all the breeds.
He's a mutt.
But I'm pretty sure he's like Anatolian Shepherd Plot Hound kind of. So
Wow.
he's pretty protective, but he's real cuddly. He's kind of this mix. He's a brindle color, but he went through a lot in life. Like before I got him at 1.5 years. Someone found him in the woods.
Oh my
man.
goodness.
So like we can go
The rescue, huh?
Yeah, like through and through. I don't know a lot of his. We have no idea what his prehistory is.
Oh yeah.
We know like I was all right. A little sad part of his life. At some point he got shot.
Oh.
So he has a lot of like
Oh,
BBs in him.
no.
What?
But now what's crazy about it is like after, I got him, he was scared of everything. Like, he's like nail guns, he wouldn't go on furniture. And
Oh, my
now like
goodness.
comes to work with me, deals with power tools, wants to go hunting with me, like all the things. Like he is just completely out of his shell now. And it's been super fun to see and watch him just grow. And yeah, he is constantly always there.
Nice.
And yeah, we can do dog story. I love dogs. We can do dogs. My mom trains dogs.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
that's
So
wonderful.
she trains hunting dogs. So we could do dog stories for days.
Man.
But I always have a joke. So she trains Springer Spaniels.
Oh,
and,
my.
Only Springer Spaniels.
Yep, only Springer's what she trains.
Why is that?
It's just the dog she chose,
Oh.
which is crazy because she had one girl and 4 boys, and I think it's because the Springer's energy level is so high that she
Yeah,
once
they
all
are.
the boys were kind of out of the house, she's like, I need something that's just insane and keeps me on my toes, and now she has Springers.
Yeah.
How
But
many?
she has 3 right now. And the first one she got, so my sister is like 11 years older than me, and when she went to college, that's when the first Springer came in. So I always say like that was her replacement, was the first Springer. and then when I went to college, I'm the baby of the family, was when she got the next one. So I was also replaced by a Springer in that. And then
Did you sleep in your former bed?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
take over the bed?
Yeah, they're always.
Shouldn't name the dogs after you and your siblings.
No. So it's
Same
funny.
name.
So we have they live a nice cushy. My dad's not a big dogs in the house person, but they
Okay.
have a nice cushy heated attached garage. So they have quite the life.
Cool.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
And
Jealous.
then when the dog when they had puppies, my dad got one of the puppies,
Oh.
and he has completely fallen in love with this dog because like animals weren't in the house, and then I come home to like visit, and he's like, dog's in the house laying on a blanket next to him, and he's like, he gets his inside time a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, right,
Right,
I remember
right.
growing up and
Yeah.
like we didn't have dogs in the house. Now
So your
That's
dad was
funny.
against it originally?
yeah,
Just
now
no
he's
way.
got
softened
now
up
he's
a
got
little
his
bit,
own,
yeah,
and like his dog's in the house on the
Sucker,
blanket.
but I
he's
feel it. Yeah.
bathing it in the bathtub, not the hose. I'm like, man, you have, this dog is
His dog's got you wrapped
yeah,
around its
yeah,
finger now. You
yeah.
know?
It's easy. It's easy to get hooked in
Oh,
by them.
it
They
is, it
become
is.
like your family. It's
The
ridiculous.
smartest dog I ever had was a collie shepherd named Kane. And that dog, it would do, like, one day my brother got up and we also had a Borzoi, which is a tall, skinny greyhound, crossed with a collie. And it went outside. We called it Skinny. And my brother was yelling, Skinny, come in. Skinny, come in. And it wouldn't come in. And all of a sudden, he heard Kane sigh, get up, walk outside, grab Skinny by the collar, and drag him back in the house. Kane was so smart.
Yeah, that is a smart dog.
And one
yeah.
time, he walked out into the street and stopped, and this car was coming, and the car had to come to stop. I was going, Kane, come on. And then all of a sudden, right beneath his feet, a little dog trotted in front of that car and went. And then as soon as that little dog crossed the street, Kane got off.
Amazing.
He was so smart.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Well, they're amazing creatures, and like I said, we have 3.
They're smart. They're
Oh.
loyal. They're
Yeah,
like
amazing.
So do you have a mixed 3? Are you like big dog, little dog,
Well,
medium dog, or like?
here's
What are
the
they?
thing. Before I met my wife, I was a big dog guy.
Okay.
That's all I had. All I had was big,
Big dogs.
Yes, yeah. So my wife loves small dogs, so I learned to love small dogs. That was not my thing, and so now we have a little. Well, we've got a mixed terrier. We don't know what the heck he is. His eyes bug out, so we called him Bugsy. A friend of mine named him, and so. So we're not sure what he is. We're not sure if he's part Boston. He's got the kind of the curly tail and all that. And he's 17, and he's still
Wow.
he's still doing
He's
well.
a terrier?
He's a terrier
Because,
mix, yeah.
boy, they'll bark at a truck like
Well,
they're going to
he's a
attack
barker.
it. They're,
He's
they're
pretty
really
vocal.
ferocious.
Yes, and we have a female Yorkie that's around 11 or 12, and my wife wanted a Yorkie, And we had already had a couple dogs. Like when I met my wife, we got a Great Pyrenees. We had this huge, I had this huge dog.
Yeah,
Huge.
they're
It
big.
was our guard dog. That was our last large dog. They got really smaller very fast when that dog went away. And so we've got Bugsy, who's about 20 pounds, and we've got the Yorkie, Chloe, that's like, I don't know, 15 pounds. And we recently adopted my mom's dog because she just went into assisted living. And Brandy is a Maltipoo.
Okay.
Which is a Maltese and a Poodle mix. And so the smartest one of the lot. She learns very fast. It's a very smart dog. And so, but it's very loud. When one goes off, they all go off. So it's like the kennel. It's crazy.
And you have a dog named Chloe?
Yes.
I had a rabbit named Chloe. Let's talk rabbits for a minute.
Sure.
We can do
I had
this too.
Vitor and Chloe. Those are the first two rabbits. One came to my door and I let it in, and then 2 nights later, a man knocked on the door and he said, "I almost hit that rabbit that's under your bushes." I said, "Oh, I'll send a carrot out for it." He went away. 2 more nights, guys knocked on the door. "I almost hit your rabbit." 3rd night, this girl came to the door holding the rabbit. So I had Vitor and Chloe, and they taught me telepathy. And they were guard rabbits. It's like you know how in that Disney film Thumper the rabbit, Thumper would thump.
Yes.
Well, rabbits, they have those big feet and they'll that means pay attention. And I learned from those rabbits, not only rabbits, but horses, dogs, and even people. When Khrushchev would slam his fist on everybody listen, if you stomp your foot when you're talking, people listen. Horses pay attention, cats, dogs, rabbits. So if I came back to my house at night, if I heard one of them thump inside, I'd have to go get the police because that was telling me something was wrong in the house.
Holy cow.
They knew.
Wow.
And one night, I was just going to sleep. I heard them thumping, and I went back in there, and Eleanor, one of them, was looking at me and thumping and looking out the window, and I looked out the window, and there were raccoons crawling down the tree into my little pond and fishing out my goldfish. And so I went out, I said, "You all get out of here." And they crawled back up the tree, all insulted, and went across the roof and left. And then Eleanor was looking at me like, "Wow."
Told you.
Yeah, told you so. So
Did
those-
you lose any goldfish, or did you catch?
Well, they ate 1 or 2, but the
Oh,
rest were
sorry,
okay.
goldfish.
Yeah, but those rabbits, they really taught me a lot.
So now you have, and I probably asked this, and you probably told me before, but Miss Duck, why that nickname?
They call me Ms. Duck. Okay. And that's why I live in the Duck House. That's why I have Duck House Music for my publishing and Duck House Records with, where I put my songs out. But a duck can fly through the air, waddle on the shore, paddle in the water, dive underneath, totally freedom loving. And I love my freedom. But you can't fuck with a duck. You can't mess with a duck, because I've seen a duck eat a live mouse whole. And if any of you ever were going to hurt an old person or a child or an animal, I would be your worst nightmare. And the other part is the human, like the humor that, they go, a duck walks into a bar, that humor. And sometimes I think of the guys down on Music Row, well, I got this singer and I got this song and a quack, quack, quack. I just think some things are so silly. So I like to think of ducks because that makes me look at life humorously. And I think if you have a good sense of humor, you got a successful, happy life.
Well, laugh or cry. Might as well laugh your way
Yeah,
through.
might as
I
well.
like that.
That's for sure.
That's why they call me Miss Duck.
I had always wanted to ask that question because you've had that nickname since I've known you, and I was like, what's that all about? But thank you.
That's
Finally answered the big mystery that I've wondered about all these
and
years.
on my guitar strap, it says Ms. Duck on the
It does.
glitter. Yeah.
It does. And I never thought to ask until now, and I'm glad I remember to ask and find out.
Do you have any nicknames on your guitar strap?
I don't have nothing on my guitar
Nothing
strap,
yet,
but I think we've talked about all the names I've gotten growing up, from Mario, Marinara. We got everything. and my mom's name is Morella. So sometimes they would combine our names together, and I would get Marabello or
Mozzarella.
Yeah, not that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Good time. Still early, for sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I've
So-
gotten it all.
Yeah. So before we get too far, any dog stories for you before we move on from the dogs?
I mean, I had 2 dogs growing up. We had Lily, who was a beagle, and great dog. You know, would sell me out for a piece of food in 2 seconds. Like if I was like dying and there was a piece of food over there, I'd be dead. Like she wouldn't
Oh
come
my
to save me.
gosh.
But that's okay.
Would she save you after eating the food?
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe.
I would like to think so.
If there was more food, maybe not.
Yeah, it depends how quickly she can, eat that food. But yeah. So and then now, I mean, obviously I'm now living in Nashville, but my parents still in Delaware have a dog named Daisy, who's a Chihuahua, who's a cute little dog. Like I like her as long as you don't touch her in her bed because that's her her territorial spot.
Chihuahuas,
So, Chihuahuas are
Oh, they
purse
don't
dogs.
play.
Those purse dogs are really
yeah.
territorial.
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
for
yes.
the most part.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
yes.
fine unless she's in her bed. If she's in her bed, I don't touch her. But like once she gets out of her bed, then you can,
Does she snap at you? Like if you try to reach her?
she'll growl if you like
Wow.
try and get the only person that can touch her in her bed is my mom. My mom's the only person that my
She's
mom
the
can do
one.
anything.
Yes.
But if anyone else touches her in the bed, it's like
It's
you're
over.
gonna get bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Chihuahuas have like the one person.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it's
That's
they can be nice.
Yeah.
But they have the one person that they kind of like really glom to, and that's the one that can do all that stuff like you're talking
Yeah.
about. Because we had a Chihuahua
Uh-huh.
and so it was funny because we got the Chihuahua when we still had the Pyrenees, and the Pyrenees didn't know what to do because she would go like this. Are you a dog? What are you? And that little dog was right in her face, like right in her face, and
Aw.
it showed no fear whatsoever. And so, but the Pyrenees never knew what the heck that thing was. Never figured it out. Like all the time, just
Funny.
looking, staring, like what
Yeah.
is going on here? And that dog ran the house. A
Yeah.
Chihuahua literally ran the house.
Yep.
That was
I've got
Spencer.
a cat that runs my house now.
Say that's why little
I mean-
dogs are basically just cats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Not too far off.
I guess.
Not too far off.
But much more needier than cats. Cats are definitely independent.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure. But
Is it a
yeah.
black cat?
No, it's beige and gray, kind of tiger stripe.
Ooh.
But I could be writing a song at the dining room table with people, and all of a sudden the cat gets up because it sleeps during the day and goes up, and it walks in the afternoon and goes. Meow. I get up and take it out. I'm like a robot. I do what the cat says.
They train us. These animals train
Yeah,
us.
she trains me.
It is very true.
And I see myself through her eyes. I am the great, tall, clumsy, hairless food provider. That's the way she looks at me. Every once in a while, she'll run over and try to trip me just for fun. She's just. But that's the way she looks at me. Like, how can you be so big and so clumsy?
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
have a cat, and I think my cat thinks that I'm just a cat too. I feel like I don't know. She acts like a dog half the time. She follows me around everywhere, wherever I go, but it's just I don't know. Like I just get the feeling that cats just think that humans are also cats.
Maybe.
'Cause they
I
just-
don't know.
You have a cat that plays fetch? Does your cat play fetch?
She doesn't play fetch. I've never tried with her, but she does all kinds of weird
I
stuff.
had a roommate.
Like-
When we lived together, we ended up he got a cat. I'm not a cat person, but it was what it was. He got a cat, and we would if you shot hair ties across the room, she would go get them and bring them back.
That's cool.
So she
That's
would play
cool.
fetch with
she
you.
was a
And I was
fetch
like, I can
cat.
deal with this cat. Like this is basically a dog. Like that's what this cat is.
Mhm.
She's
That's
sweet.
funny.
She's still around. I
But
still get to see
animals
her.
have a lot bigger perspective. We have just sight and hearing, just a small, and they have more, and they
Yeah.
can see more. I hear some can see spirits. Who knows?
Have you heard of those like dog whistles where like they play the different frequencies,
Oh, yeah.
and some of them like you can't hear,
Oh
but
yeah,
your dog
it's
like.
they
painful to some of them.
Oh,
They use
yes.
it for discipline and stuff like
Oh,
that.
is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
some.
I thought it
Oh,
was just to test your hearing range.
I
As
think
far
they're for
as, like,
discipline,
How,
but I'm not
Oh, no.
100%
Some of
sure
them,
about
some
that.
of them
but-
are discipline and recall, but yeah. And I know you brought up horses at one point, and that's a whole different ball game of ability to read and see and
Yeah.
react.
Boy.
and,
Yes.
Yeah.
These things are just huge too. It's like
Yes.
anytime you're around a horse, it's like, geez, this thing could kill me in an instant.
Oh yeah.
It could.
Yeah,
And-
I
and-
actually go for
Powerful.
They
They're
can
powerful.
sense if you're afraid
Oh,
or
yeah,
if you're
they do.
or if you're confident.
I think
and-
animals in general have that
Yeah,
ability.
and they
Cats,
take lots
dogs,
of
they
prisoners from prison and have them care for horses, and it helps the men kind
beautiful.
of
Yeah.
feel better about things. It's
So-
interesting.
So
The animals
hor-
can heal people.
horses, like in general, they did a study. So their hearts are so big that they create an electromagnetic field
Really?
around themselves.
That's cool.
Which is why they, like, when you go up to, you sync, and that's how they can feel. They're literally feeling vibrations through their own
they
created
pick it up.
electromagnetic field,
Wow.
and that's how they understand all of your own emotions.
I didn't know that. That's
so-
interesting.
I worked with a lot of. I used to train horses for a little bit.
That's cool.
And so I've done
Yeah.
a lot of different stuff, and it's fun when you get in a mix of a herd, and they all have their own. Like, you can start to see personality traits
You can.
of all of their own, and you have. We always talked about mirror horses and absorption horses. So
What does that mean?
if you went to let's say if you went up to a mirror horse and you were like terrified of it or high anxiety or whatever, the mirror horse would reflect whatever you felt.
Mirror horse?
Mirror horse.
Okay.
So it's like if you were high anxiety, they like you could physically see the horse had
Pick up on
anxiety,
it.
its
They get
ears
stressed.
were up, it was stressed out.
Yep.
And then you have sponge horses where like if you're high anxiety, they just absorb it and they're always kind of like dormant.
Calm you down.
Yeah.
I see.
And you kind of have both. So, and I did a little bit of like mentorship with kids and stuff that had trouble with just trauma or going through things. So it was fun. Depending on what they were going through, you could bring a different personality in. And like if you like, let's say I had trouble being calm in stressful situations, I would put you with a mirror horse on purpose to have you reflect on ways of making you calm down. Because the more stress you got, the higher the stress situation became. And then when you calm down, you would see how everything else calms around you because the horse would immediately respond.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
see.
then and that would like and eventually it just over time your brain, it's just like everything else in life, your brain just trains to it. And it's like, why am I exploding over this? Just bring it all down, everything else calms around you. And it's so much fun to like just see how everybody reacts with different things. And there's like, you have extrovert, introvert horses too, where they're, pushy or they're standoffish, and you kind of learn, you can learn social cues because everything's nonverbal, which is my favorite thing about horses is you never speak. Everything is body language, and
It
you
is.
just
Yeah,
learn to
yeah,
talk through emotions the whole time. So
It's cool.
if you ever have emotional
Yeah.
problems or you need something, just go stand with a horse at some point and like you'll learn really quick how to kind of work through it and deal with it and kind of move around with them. So
Animals are so fascinating, and I have been studying lately octopus. They are the
Oh.
smartest. They've
Oh, yeah.
got what, like 3 hearts and 5 brains
Oh,
or
yeah,
something
I
like
know
that. And
There's
when they
something.
go across whatever's behind them, they can change their whole look so that they have bumps and crevices like those rocks, or if they go somewhere it's sandy, then they all turn beige. And it's like the octopus are really
Yeah,
intelligent.
I heard a story, and I don't know if this is exactly what the story was, but it was something like this where this person owned like some kind of testing facility or something like that, and they had an octopus in a tank, and then they had like some other creatures in other tanks, and they would do whatever studies, or I think that's kind of what it was. It was like a research facility or something like that, and so they would turn it off for the night, they'd go home, and they started noticing that like. So they had like the octopus in its tank, and then there were other tanks, and they started noticing that some of the other like fish and some of the other things just disappeared. Like they just noticed that like they just started disappearing. They're what's going on? And they started to realize, well, there must be something going on. So they set up a camera, and I'm not kidding you, like. The octopus would get out of the tank, crawl across the floor, get up into the other tank, eat some fish, and then go back out.
Oh my
Wow.
God!
Like
Not
it knew
surprised.
how to do that, and the
Not
thing that's
surprised.
crazy about octopus too is that they can like, if there's like a hole that's like this big,
They can
like a
squeeze.
big giant octopus can just squeeze right through it, and like
They're amazing
they're
creatures.
They're incredible. Like and, like to know how to like, okay, I'm going out of the tank. I know I have a certain amount of time that I'll be okay, just kind of out of the water. To know how you can get over there, like I guess there's probably got to be some kind of precognition and planning. Like, can I make it over there? I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, they're smart.
Like that's nuts to me. Like, and how do we don't understand how that works? But like, I mean, they obviously have an intelligence that's higher than we gave them credit for.
I've seen some scuba divers that made friends with certain octopus and all, so they recognize people and they're just highly intelligent.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
Going
we don't
back-
give them enough credit, that's for sure. Animals in general
Yeah.
for being intuitive and having intellect of some kind. We don't. We
And
really
I
don't.
think many of them can think, boy, they're an ass.
I'm
think
sure
the
that's been a
animals think
common
that.
Oh, yeah, I'm
thought
sure
in
they
the
think we're
animal
crazy.
kingdom.
Oh yeah, they think we're crazy. I'm sure.
Going back to
That might be the
to the-
first thing that they complain about. Like the number one complaint of all animals on the planet is humans are assholes, or something like that. You know?
Hell yeah, they're crazy. Stay away from them. Those people are nuts.
Going back to the horse thing though, I'm not surprised at any of this because I was actually when I was filming some video for this new single, and I was filming by this little barn, and there happened to be two horses there. And the one horse was so like interested and engaged with what I was doing, and then I just like turned around and started singing to the horse, and he's just chilling there listening.
Yeah.
And you know, he was a little afraid, like, because we tried to move a little closer, and then he went a little further away, but he was like super in tune and like paying attention to what was
Yeah,
going on.
They very much are paying attention.
Yeah, and then I got some
Yeah.
content of me singing to the horse. I was
That's
like, man,
cool.
I might have to change my target audience here because it seems like horses might be more interested in what I'm doing than people.
You might want to change to cows. There's a very famous video of people on YouTube. Many people have probably seen this already who tune in. But like, there's a video, you look it up, of a jazz, like it's like a jazz quartet or something like that. They go out to like a pasture, like they're on the side of the fence. I'm assuming it's kind of similar to what you were.
Yeah.
Like, you were playing by the side of the
Yeah, I
road
was
or
on the
something
side
like
of the
that.
fence.
And they just start playing da 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 da, playing some horns, and then there was like another one that was like playing some stuff, and then fiddle coming in, and there was a whole herd of cows that were like across the way, and they just like bounded over. Like,
Wow.
they just ran over to the fence, and they were
To
just there
listen.
like
Yeah, they're
listening
curious.
the
Wow.
whole
Very
time.
curious.
They were just chilling out listening, and they seemed like you were saying, they were locked in.
Yeah.
Like they were really interested in it.
I want to know if there's like a TikTok for horses. Like, is there some way I can? Should I invent that?
When I first
Nothing
started,
stopping you, man. Go for it.
when I
Go for
first
it.
started writing songs, before I played in front of people, I sit on my front porch out in the country and play for the cattle. And I could tell if it was a good song or not, because they'd stand there and listen if they liked it, and if they didn't like it, they'd walk away. And that's how I learned which songs were good and which
That's great.
songs
That's a
weren't.
barometer. It's
Yeah,
a
the cattle showed me.
cowometer. Yeah, it's
Did
great.
any of your hit songs come from that?
It's kind of, sort of from a long time ago. Because they really showed me what songs I should play in front of people. Yeah.
Did you get the same reaction from people?
Yes, it was amazing.
That is
Cattle
incredible.
kind of knew
Mm.
which one were pleasant to listen to and which ones weren't.
That's the. That's funny.
And
That's
that's what I
awesome.
do with my dog now.
You play for your dog.
Oh, if that was like his became this calming thing when I first got him was playing. So now if he hears the guitar case, he is in the room. And
Wow.
if he's not,
That's
he is
great.
going to come through the door to be in the room.
Wow.
And he's not like in your business. He's not trying to be all about like he's not attacking the guitar. Like he just has to be in the room on the ground. Like that's he just
he
wants like
likes the music.
he is a studio dog. Like he just wants he's been to on the road with me. He's come done shows. He'll lay on the stage and just kind of hang out.
So cool.
He's done all like he loves it. He wants to be.
Some
part of
dogs
it.
really love music.
In the old days when I was married to my second ex-husband, he was a big record producer, and we had a dog named Danny. And Danny would be in the studio, and when the chorus came on a song, if he started howling and singing to it, we knew it was a hit. That dog could pick the hits, because if it had the right kind
The
of
$1 million
sonic,
dog.
the dog would harmonize and sing along.
That's funny.
Funny.
And that funny?
Yeah. Our first dog growing up, she would always bark like crazy if we would play piano. Or I grew up, I was a trumpet player, so like anytime I would play the trumpet, I'd have to be on one side of the house, and she would have to be on the opposite side of the house, because otherwise she would bark like a crazy, crazy
she
dog.
didn't like it. Oh, I see.
My terrier goes crazy over harmonica. For a minute, I had this obsession with harmonica. I thought, I'm going to be a harmonica player. It didn't last. But I couldn't play because he would immediately start howling and singing. I mean, I would get it out.
Yeah.
And he would look. He's got the big eyes, you know.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he would stare. As soon as I started playing, then I have to stop. Start playing. I'm like, okay. And then I would just play, and he would go crazy.
Yeah.
So he is a singer. But he gets no co-writes on my songs.
No credits.
No credits.
When he shows up and starts singing in the middle of co-writes, he doesn't get any of that. So, but it is funny how they react. I don't know if it's the frequencies like you talked about, like some you can't hear.
Right.
But he would go crazy.
Yeah.
That's probably part of the reason I quit too. Because I could never play. Play. He would go crazy in the house there. So, but they are funny. They're very funny.
Yeah.
So, on a different note, you said that the dog. This is going to be a hard left turn, and we're going to get a little weird. But this is what this show is all about. Is making weird turns. You said that the dog was intuitive with in the studio.
Yes.
So I had friends from the Indianapolis area, and they had a studio in an old house.
Okay.
And occasionally when they recorded, there was an extra voice in the recording. And it was a ghost. And
Wow.
and she would sing along if she liked the song. I know this is taking a really weird turn, but when we were talking about the dog was reacting to the music in the studio, I don't know why this came to me, other than it was the weirdest story. I'm assuming
They would record it, and it wasn't anybody
Nope.
in the...
Nope.
It was...
There was an extra voice, and it was a high female voice, and when guys are singing, they hear this high voice.
Huh.
And
Oh my
if
gosh.
she liked it, didn't always sing, but if it was a good melody or whatever, they would hear this extra voice come in and chiming in the recordings in this old
Wow.
200-year-old house or whatever they had up there in Indiana. And so I like I said, it's just a total left turn. But when you said that, for some reason, that weird memory came back, that weird story.
I wonder if it's a spot, like if it's an untreated room or a spot where there's an overtone. Like if you
Could
sing
be.
in this direction, you get a
Maybe.
little bit of an overtone
Yeah,
from like
it could have
frequencies
been.
bouncing off of each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, I believe it is definitely.
I guess it
You're
just
on the ghost
depends
list.
on
I like
how
the
much
ghost
you
story,
believe in like those kinds of things. Like I've seen a couple ghosts in my life, so it's like I could see that happening. Like I
Yeah.
could see that there's like some kind of, I don't know how it works, but there's some spirit and
Yeah,
okay,
it's
you know.
strange, like you
I
said.
think that
animals-
spirits sometimes have a way of like presenting themselves to you. I've never heard of like, I mean, I've never experienced myself a spirit recurring, like continuing to communicate, but that's a trip.
Yeah, yeah, that's
That's-
what
What if you could do like research, figure out like if somebody lived there that like was a singer or something? They should.
They should.
Yeah, maybe there was
Never got
somebody who
that
was
far.
like they always wanted to be a singer, but like their parents wouldn't let them, and then they died in the house or something.
Who
like
knows?
That. Who knows what the story is?
Yeah,
Like, it could be.
we don't know.
Could be some
Never
tragic
know.
tale of somebody who always wanted to sing but never
Or
got
it
the
could
chance.
just be a really good tale, like they were like the town singer, and that just happened to be where they lived.
Could
Right?
be.
Could be it
So
too.
some-
Yeah, yeah.
Could be.
Never know.
So
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to stick with that story. It's a good thought. Maybe it was a weird echo, but it was very strange that they could hear a
Yeah.
female voice in some of the recordings when
Sure.
it's just dudes singing
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So that was my weird left turn of the night. Maybe there might be more,
About it.
but there'll probably be more before it's over.
I like a good left turn. Big NASCAR guy. You like a good left turn.
Yeah. Lots of lefts. Lots of lefts.
Right turns aren't very good in NASCAR, are they?
No, we don't
want to
wanna
wreck,
wreck
you
that.
know?
That's to be
Go the
avoided.
opposite way. You're going the wrong way. We don't want that, but
Now, do they? I mean, since you know a thing or two about NASCAR, it sounds like.
Just one or two. I
So-
like drag racing.
If
Oh,
I'm
you
just
like drag
curious because it just the question instantly pops into my mind: do they design the cars differently because they only turn left? Is that
Well,
like,
I mean,
do they
I-
balance the suspension in a certain way because it's? Because I saw
Oh, I
like with
never
the
thought of
the
that.
tracks, it's
the
like
tracks are angled
like
hard,
super angled
oh yeah,
too,
I mean
right?
they're steep.
Yeah,
but
they're
like
steep.
I could be totally wrong. So if there's like big NASCAR fans, don't come at me for this. But I know, like, if you look at because obviously every car is built for like aerodynamics or whatever, which don't know if that's a word, but we're gonna go with it.
It is now.
But you can put like you weight them, so you can pitch them and you can weight them on sides. So like if you're driving and you're like, okay, my car's really loose here, you shave the weight. You shave the weight here, you put it here, you move it there. You kind of and you get that angle because you are. And that's why they have lines. They always say you want to ride your line. You want to find that line because that's the best flow through the track. And that's like if you get too out of line, the wind change because you're going so fast will suck you into the wall or it'll suck you into the. And that's why there's that shift. And if you're slippery and you're sliding, then you change your pitch or your wedge or you kind of move your stuff around with that.
So you always go left. That means when people race, they're going counterclockwise always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
they
be
are.
darned.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, they could have gone the other way. I don't know why.
No, I don't know why they never get sick. They never get sick, and then like today is like opposite day. Like they just they go the other way around.
Oh, they
like,
do.
No, they
No,
don't.
they-
I was like,
No,
why
they
don't
don't.
they? Well, why is it
They never
always?
do.
Why is it always this way?
Yeah, I don't
Maybe on April
Yeah,
Fool's.
how-
Day.
Yeah, because that'd be kind of funny. Like, I mean, that's probably a joke. That's probably like they probably make jokes about that sometimes.
I wonder,
Like,
and is
like-
Grand Prix left? It's like is those they like open wheels? So they left too, or are they right?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Grand
not a big
Prix, you're talking
racing-
about
Yeah,
people
you know-
drive through the
But it's
towns all
interesting.
over the place.
Yeah,
They
like Monaco.
they must be
and
weighted
here and
every
stuff.
way because they go
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
left and right
they're
and
all
straight.
over the place.
Yeah, you've already talked about way more than anything that I know in NASCAR.
'Cause I know it's like drag racing. I mean, you're straight on.
Yeah, you
like
just-
that's you're
you gotta
and,
time the punch in the gas.
yeah, you watch your
basically, right?
clock, and then depending on your shifters on how fast you're going, and you time your parachute pulls and everything like that. We were
It's
never
incredible.
Interesting.
we were never all the way
Yeah.
up to. My family now has a car that needs a chute, which
Wow.
growing up we were never that fast. Now
Yeah.
we are because my dad's just like, you know what? Let's just go real fast. So now the older he gets, the faster he's been going. So
So he actually races?
yeah. So we all
Wow.
raced.
You do?
I
Like,
used to.
you
so
So
race
now you do
too.
drag racing though. You do straight lane.
yeah, we
the
just do
straight lane
bracket
thing.
racing. So I'm
Okay.
not like
All right.
I'm not like sanctioned kind of like
It's like street racing in a way, like
we're
out
on
in the
we're on a
country
track.
kinda, or,
We're on a track. I've done. There was a place in Iowa when I was a kid. That was. It was an old like airstrip kind of deal, and that was what they call a no prep track. So when I was like 16, 17, we were racing on a prep track. So it was an old NASCAR track actually is what it was.
Cool.
And then they take the quarter mile of the NASCAR track and they heat it up. They take the tractor out there that's got rubber kind of on it and they drop that down. They slick it up so after the race day you can go out there and walk and you'll lose your shoes because the track's sticky. It's prepped.
Wow.
So does the tire stick?
So everything sticks.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why you do burnouts so your tires are heated up so it sticks to the track
Now, I've
better.
seen the NASCAR cars do this.
Yep, they're heating them
And
up so
and
they
they're
stick
like,
better.
Yeah,
And
right?
that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
When you do a straight race, how fast do you go?
The fastest I've ever gone is like 120.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
The
so
car
that's-
the car that we have now is like 165, 170.
What?
in a
Oh my
quarter.
gosh.
And how fast is that
It's fast.
race? Like when you do it? Like first of all, how long is the track that you
So,
would?
so we race on quarters.
Quarter
mile?
And yep, and we're
Okay.
going. We're hitting 160. We're doing.
Oh my
blinding
Lord.
speed.
like 990s is kind of what we're at.
What's
the
a 990?
9 seconds.
Okay.
9.9 seconds
right.
in the quarter.
Okay.
That's a
How
So-
fast
You
can
ever
you
watch-
go in 9.9 seconds?
About 160 is what we're doing.
Oh
So
my
that's-
gosh. That was
that's-
just
Like when you see
Pull you.
what was that? What was the big French? The Fast and Furious movies. Now it's like you owe me a 10-second car. That was kind of like their whole thing. Like 10
Oh.
seconds was really fast, for a
Yeah,
street
yeah,
car, which is
yeah.
really fast. And then we the fastest I saw a car. So they were racing eighth miles. In like 1.6 seconds at like 180. They were hitting
Oh my
180 miles an
Lord.
hour in an eighth of a mile.
So what are the
1.6.
G's like on that when
I was
when
gonna
it
say
goes,
pulling
when it-
G's. It
I don't
probably
even,
pulls your
I don't.
cheeks
Yeah,
back.
they got neck braces and they're strapped.
Well, I mean,
in
even
on
for what you're
yeah.
doing, do you just feel like you get like
For,
kind of?
I'm not going. So I'm
blasted
the
into it?
fastest I've gone is like a 12-second.
Yeah.
So a little bit, but and it depends on your car. Like if you're racing like the Teslas now, because they're electric, so they're on or they're off. So they hit really hard because they're, you know, you all of it or none of it because they're electric.
They go faster than a gasoline car?
They have more torque, but they're not always faster.
Oh.
But their torques are pretty much matched to their mile per hour because, like I said, it's like a light switch. It's on or it's off. You know, it's all kind of relevant to how it is. And then also when you're building a car, you know, you can only, if your motor's too big and your rear end can't handle it, you can spin your rear end and actually shear it off in the back, and then you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, like, because some of those cars, they look so thin, and the wheels don't look that far apart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that kind of car that you're driving? The long, thin ones? I don't know the terminology.
I haven't. Well, ours are just like I'm racing a brown 4-door 1970 Maverick. Like,
okay.
It is
all
just
right.
a, you know, and it's
souped up.
Honestly, it's pretty fast for what it is. Like, yeah, it's got a, I think it has a 302 in it, and it's got a little bit bigger cam and a little, you know, but it's not like crazy. But there are, you know, there's cars that are, we had this guy that met this guy, and he used to run prep tracks, and prep tracks, they have rules of like, once you hit this mile per hour, you need a roll cage. Once you hit this mile per hour, you need a parachute. Once you hit, you know, they have all their rules to make sure people are safe. And he had this old Fairlane, and he never wanted to put a. They told him that he needed to put a roll cage in it for his speed. And he was like, "Nah, I don't want to cut apart my beautiful car." So he has an 1100 horsepower Fairlane that he will street race, but he has, you know.
He can't legally
lap seatbelt.
Oh,
lap seatbelt.
That ain't gonna help
He
you.
keeps that thing on the road,
and he just rips around.
Explain this to me. When I was in high school, my uncle loaned me his Super Sport or some kind of car, and I had kids in it, and I was driving, and I floored it, and when I floored it, and instead of it just going straight, it went. Why did it swerve around like that?
So sometimes when they depending on what's happening, if you hit it hard enough and it has enough horsepower, your fronts are actually off the ground, like they're touching, but they're kind of off.
Out.
Yeah.
So you're not. There's nothing. It's
and
just
that
you're
made
just
it go
backs.
like this.
You're just backs.
It was like
So it
it
kinda
was
lifts the
almost like
front
I
up a
was
little bit?
floating. It
Mhm.
was going so fast and so swerving.
Yeah, and some
Scared
cars only spin one wheel. If you ever
Oh,
watch like old
what do they
cars
call
that
that? Posi?
yeah.
The
Posi tracks. You ever watch old cars
That was
get
my
stuck?
cousin Vinny. That's how
One's
he
spinning and one's
won.
never moving.
Oh, so it
when you
might be
punch
back
it,
wheel
You
drive.
punch it, you're hitting that. Yeah, and all
Oh,
those old cars
crazy.
are rear wheel drive. None of them are front wheel drive.
Amazing.
And then they're posied out. So when you hit it, you're only getting that one tire
That's
kind of going,
So
and it's
that's why
slipping
it
and sliding.
kind of fishtails or something.
Yeah, or it just
that's
just gets
fishtail.
loose.
That's what it was. That was
Yeah,
happening.
just gets a little loose.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Scared
A
me.
little
Yeah.
crazy, getting a little,
There's
little
all
crazy.
Yeah, there are all kinds of. That was the first time I ever broke 100 miles an hour. I was 6. I was not driving. I was me and my brother had just built his Torino, and I remember he took me for a ride because he was like, "We're gonna test it out." He had a yellow and black convertible Torino,
Oh
and
my gosh.
I was so little I couldn't see over the dashboard, and we had this little strip next to our house, and he hit it. And it was doing, it was back and forth, and I was like, I want to see, and he's like, you do not want to see, and it's,
Oh
it's
my
all
gosh.
over the road.
Oh,
And that was the first time I ever went over 100 in a car, and that car had no seatbelts. That was fun.
Oh my god.
I don't think my parents know that one, so
Now they do.
you watch
Now
this,
they will.
That's,
So now,
remember that one.
are you like on a competitive circuit, or is this just for fun? You just do
So
this
we did
because you want to?
weekends.
Yeah.
So ours were weekends, and it's just bracket. So you can do it. There's a track here in Nashville that's bracket racing. It does it
In
5,
Nashville?
5-6 days a week.
Where?
It's just north. It's in Goodlettsville.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And you can show up. You pay like $20, and you get an hour of time trials, they call it. So you can test and tune your car for an hour, and then you race. They put you in a bracket, and if you win, you make money, and if you don't, then you pay $20 to have a fun night, and you go home, and you can go back again tomorrow. Or
That's pretty
so
cool.
what we did is ours weren't cashed out. We didn't, you just do it for plaques, and there's a million classes. But the bracket racing, where I was from, so like my car ran 12 seconds. So
Wow.
you were put in a 12-second class.
Kind of
You
like
wanna-
weight classes for wrestling.
Yes,
It's like you have a
and you want to hit 12 on the money. Your goal is to have a 0.00 reaction time and run 12 seconds. If you do that, you win. So bracket racing is about consistency.
Wow.
Every time. So if you go 11.99 and the other person, and you actually beat the other person, but they do 12.01, they win because you went too fast.
Wow.
So you can't go. It's not who gets there first. Who gets there first is called heads up racing. And
So
you
it's
can-
precision.
It's precision and bracket racing, and then you have heads up racing where you can join a class and let's say you run 11.9s and I run 12 seconds. So I get a 0.10 of a second head start. That way, in the scheme of things, if you run your time exact and I run my time exact, we should hit the line at the exact same time, which makes it more about the driver and your reaction time to the light and
Amazing.
how on you are with your
So it's almost like a handicap.
Yep.
Like in golfing, it's
Yep.
a little like a handicap.
Kind of, yeah.
That'll
So,
work,
like, if you run 13s and I run 11s, you get a 2-second head start. And if
Yeah.
I hit my time right on the money, I should catch you in that quarter.
Yeah.
Wow.
If I run a better reaction time, theoretically, I should beat you.
That's
But
interesting.
Then again, it goes back to if I break, if I go too fast and you are right on your money, you can win too. So it's all, there's so many different rules to all of it. It's a ton of fun, but it's all
I was gonna
consistency.
say that there's
Consistency is king of
interesting.
of
So I have a
racing.
question
no
for
idea.
you.
No idea.
Have you ever driven in a demolition derby?
Uh,
And what is the mindset of people who are in cars crashing
so
into each other?
I feel like the mindset with that, like in a, so they have rage rooms now where you can
What's
go.
a rage room?
So basically, it's a square box that has like glass and all kinds of random stuff, and you go in there, and they give you a little suit and a helmet, and you just smash things like therapy. And I feel
That's
like
a rage room. I
that's-
never heard of that.
that's kind
Oh
of
my
what a
God.
demolition derby is. It's just therapy in motion.
Here we
It's
go.
just-
Let's smash these things
everybody-
together. Like,
I used to have a boyfriend who wanted my old Pontiac Tempest to drive into a demolition derby. I was like, absolutely not. I love my old car. But I mean, these people would just get in cars and crash in. I can't
That one-
understand what it's like boxing. I don't understand boxing. Why do you want to be in a sport where you hit each other in the head?
Yeah.
I don't
The
get
UFC
that
stuff
either.
is crazy.
Demolitions I never really got into. We do have a lot of dirt track. I'm from in Minnesota. We do have a lot of dirt track racing,
Oh, okay.
which is fun. So we would take a car like your old Pontiac Tempest and just run that because you can do what they call enduros, which is a really long race, and it's basically you take this old car and if it doesn't break down, then you're probably gonna win.
Wow.
And that's
as
in
long as
dirt.
you-
That's not.
yeah, they call them
pavement.
enduros. Yeah, and that's dirt, and you're just running.
It's just at a dirt track, or
Yep.
does it have up and downs and
No,
stuff?
it's just
a dirt
circles.
track.
oh,
yeah.
okay, all right.
And that has classes too, where you got modifieds and outlaws and all kinds of stuff.
Crazy.
And those are. I think there's a dirt track here in Nashville somewhere too.
All right.
They used to do dirt racing at the old fairgrounds, which is now that big
Yep,
soccer,
yeah,
football, whatever you call it,
I think-
complex.
I
They
think.
still do racing there.
Do they?
Yeah,
I
they
hear
do
the
stock
races.
car. They do stock
I
car
hear
racing.
the races. It's right by Geodis.
Yeah.
Right by the soccer stadium.
Now, how about dirt bikes? Anybody?
I used to be a dirt.
I used to
Bike
have
rider.
a motorcycle. I had
That
a
was- that was
500
my-
Triumph scramble bike that I
Oh,
rode to
geez.
California
Yes.
one time.
Oh
Yes.
wow,
That's
wow,
cool.
that's pretty
Crazy.
cool.
My dad's
Yeah.
first motorcycle was a Triumph. That
Really?
was his. They were
Oh,
Harley
I
people.
loved that motorcycle.
Yep, he were Harley people, but they couldn't. His first one he couldn't afford a Harley yet, so he ended up with a Triumph, and he rode that thing everywhere. We still had a few bikes, but one brother he got more into bikes kind of earlier, and he did enduro racing on, kind of like a motocross style. It's kind of like a dirt bike, but like it's still kind of street legal,
Right.
and that was not. It's a track, but it's literally just through the woods. And you're over
Oh, yeah.
trees and
Oh,
through
yeah.
rivers, and
Oh
you're
my
just
gosh, that would scare
and
me.
and there's a lot of crashes and a lot of broken bones.
Yeah, there's
and,
some
Oh.
dangerous.
Yep.
That can be
so
dangerous.
he did that. My other brother now has gotten really into snowmobile racing. So
Snowmobile
Yeah,
racing.
Gosh,
he's
your
got-
family is
Oh
all
my
about
gosh.
yep.
just
Faster it goes, the
Yeah,
more fun
faster
it
and-
is.
How many
flying
brothers
around.
and sisters do you have?
So I have 3 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh wow.
So, yep.
Good healthy family, and they're all into cars and racing, and wow.
Mhm. Yep. Now my sister has 4 little ones, so now it's our turn to pass
it
the
along.
adrenaline,
Oh,
pass the
wow.
Onto
adrenaline
them.
down onto the next.
There you
Are they
go.
going to be
Next
replaced by
generation.
dogs one day as well?
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
Bring in a dog per child.
She's
Seems to be a
working on
family
it.
thing.
She's got dogs now. She's got a rabbit now. I think she's working on
Makes her
chickens
happy.
next.
Makes
I love the bunnies.
So you know the singer these boots were made for walking.
Oh, Nancy Sinatra.
Nancy
Yes.
Sinatra.
Oh, yes.
So I had
Yes.
a rabbit, my very first rabbit, and she had boots. But I didn't want to name her Boots because I was like, everybody names every
You mean
animal
white
that's
pa-
got
white paws.
every animal that's got socks. Well, she was white with black. And I was
Oh,
like,
I
every
see.
animal that's got socks, they name socks or boots.
Yeah.
So then we named her Nancy instead of Boots
That's
from
cool.
the song, and that was my first rabbit. She had a little harness. We'd go on walks. She was great.
Oh wow! I
She
never
was
heard of
amazing.
people like having rabbits. Really, I guess maybe I knew a few people, but it wasn't
Oh,
really
I
a thing
love
growing
those
up.
bunnies.
Okay, yeah, it's
Oh.
interesting. I
But,
never.
she was a California giant, so she was bigger than any cat
How many
I ever
pounds did she get to?
had. Probably like 8. I mean, she was big. She
That's
was
a big
probably this big. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
she was real good
Have
size.
you ever seen those Holland rabbits?
Oh yeah.
They're huge,
The giant ones, yeah.
and when they hop across the ground, the ground thunders. They're so big. Yeah, there's
Wow.
big bunnies.
Well, we talked about bunnies. We talked about motor racing. We talked
Yeah.
a little bit about songs, and I don't know.
Oh yeah,
One
we
ghost
should
story?
be talking about songs.
Yeah, there's
right?
a
We did
ghost.
yeah.
and,
We did
yeah.
have a duck named Quack though for a while.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had some ducks.
Oh.
go.
We had the whole farm. We
It
were
all,
just
and it all comes together.
Yeah.
It all comes around, right?
That's so funny.
Talk about rounds. Why don't we do
Yeah.
a little round here
Yeah.
in the live that we're doing here?
Oh,
Would
yeah.
love to hear some music.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
we're at the point of the.
This is a great
Great
time
show's
to jump
been-
off.
I'm
yeah,
gonna
so-
gonna get me a dog for y'all.
Yes, you should. Since we're animal themed
I'm gonna take a
tonight.
quick restroom run.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah,
when
right
you
back.
come
Grab your
back,
guitars
can you
and
hand
we'll
me
take a
my
I
second
guitar
got you.
over
over there?
Absolutely.
heck yeah.
Where's your guitar?
I put it in
it's,
the rack.
it's over
yeah.
there.
Go
It's
grab
got
it. You
all
got
that
it, John?
stuff taped
Yeah.
on the back. That's mine.
Sweet. Well, since it really was animal themed tonight, mostly, give or take a couple, until we got into like motocross
man.
and
I could go on stories.
It's
about
9:30. We've been talking for an
yeah,
hour.
we have
We
been
have.
talking.
Oh my
we have.
gosh.
Time
This
flies.
is what
It really-
happens in co-writes too. It's
Yeah,
like
it
you
flies.
get on a topic and then you're like, wow, we've been writing for 4 hours and
Oh, yeah.
basically we've just been hanging out.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about this is we've really just kind of, like I said, it's fun. We're hanging out on the couch on a Friday night and just kind of bantering about anything and everything we want to talk about. And sometimes it's music heavy, sometimes it's not. And so, but that's the fun of this is we just talk about what we want to talk about, and like I said, the occasional left turn and
You know,
You know.
but
we are live, you guys know, right?
yeah, but
Yes.
you know the
Yeah.
thing is really
yes,
is that this is, and I know coming into this you said we want to kind of show people like, I mean, it's called Music City's Writers Room. So like what kind of really happens in writes? This is it. This is really what it is we all just sit down and we share our ideas. It's like, what do you want to write about today? We're
It's
like,
great therapy.
It's
yeah, and some people
Yeah.
come in and
Yep.
they're like, I have this idea. It's like exact, but a lot of it is just like, let's just talk about, and like that's usually where you find the better song, where it's just
yeah. You
whatever
talk
you're
your way
talking
into the
about.
song. You
With
create
a
it by
sense of
talking your way
humor.
into
Like,
it.
at Cleopatra, Queen of Denial. Well, that's the story of somebody who's been dumped on a bunch of times, but then we made it into something funny
Yeah.
after
Yeah, it's a great
after
song.
time went by. Yeah.
That's right.
And the same thing with this, they're gonna get me a dog, because it's like,
And
Yeah,
that's
and
and that goes back to that therapy part, where we
yeah,
can
there's
turn-
there's a lot of therapy in these writers'
Oh,
rooms. That's
yeah.
for sure. We
Oh,
get to
yeah.
write it out, unlike everybody else in the world. And but yeah, there are many times that we'll talk our way into a song. We'll just talk life and hey, what are you
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
today, or what are you thinking about? And suddenly, oh, that's a song idea. And suddenly, as the song evolves, and there it is. We've run into it. So
Or you have a write, like we had that one write where we had, I don't know, we were writing the song. I think we came up with 6 titles in the write. Like while we were writing, we're like, all right, that's later
Yep,
date.
write it down.
Later
Write
date.
it down. Write it down. Save it. Put it in your hookbook for
Should I
later.
grab that or should I wait?
Maybe wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
oh
I
yeah,
think
come on,
since,
sit down,
I
and
think
then it's
we-
when I
yeah.
write, after I sing my song, I'll put my guitar back over
Yeah,
there.
that's
'cause
great. That's
There's
great.
not
yeah.
enough room for everybody to have one.
Hey, you're ready to go. Jan Buckingham.
All right, so I'm going to do the preface that I did before and then play the whole song. So when I'm in front of a bunch of people, I say, I'd like to preface this song by saying, after 2 divorces and many a failed relationship, I discovered the pure, sure cure for broken heart. And the pure, sure cure for broken heart is not liquor, and it's not drugs, and it's not another relationship. The pure, sure cure is what I talk about in this song. I tried so hard to show you that you could be my man, but as I got to know you, nothing turned out like I planned. Why you found so much fault with me, I'll never understand. So go ahead and leave me now, I just don't give a damn. Gonna get me a dog, one who won't talk back. When I get home, lay his head in my lap, lie by my side when I take a nap. I'll sleep like a log when I get me a dog. Gonna get me a dog who's tried and true, who won't complain about things to do. When times get tough, he'll see me through it all. Who needs you? Gonna get me a dog. Gonna get me a dog, one who loves to play. When we go out, he'll never stray. He'll take a walk anytime I say. No need to talk when I get me a dog. Gonna get me a dog who's tried and true, who won't complain about things to do. When times get tough, he'll see me through it all. Who needs you? Gonna get me a dog. When I lay down the law, he'll give me his paw. I'll scratch behind his ear, and he'll bring me a beer. Good dog. Gonna get me a dog, maybe from the pound, and I won't miss having you around. We'll eat from cans, 2 happy hounds, living high on the hog. When I get me a dog, gonna get me a dog who's tried and true, who won't complain about things to do. When times get tough, he'll see me through it all. Who needs you? Gonna get me a dog. He can bark all night, and I love that sound. Won't mind him digging in the ground. Better than having you around. Who needs you? Gonna get me a dog. Silly, silly song.
Very appropriate for tonight.
Can I hand this to
Oh,
you to
absolutely.
put back
For
over
sure.
there,
No
and then
problem.
somebody get their guitar and play? Thank you for letting me play.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
The
Yeah.
song, yeah.
Yes. While Mariano's, I guess, getting his guitar, we usually do this at the end, but where can people find you since you just played?
Oh, well, okay. If they're in Nashville, they can find me sometimes at the Bluebird, and sometimes at the Local, and sometimes at the Maxwell House, and a lot of times at the Commodore. And if they want to find me online, they can go to any streaming platform in the universe and search Jan Buckingham, and up will come my songs. And a lot of them are good songs to be on the radio, like One Tequila and Just Enough, a lot of them. And then a couple of songs could never be on the radio
This is
because
true.
of some of the language. One is called The Last Word in Happiness is Penis, and one is called First Word in Country, and it doesn't ever say that word. But the song is about that. They're funny songs. So you can find me, just search Jan Buckingham on any streaming platform.
Awesome. Sweet. Yeah. Go look for Jan.
Love that
I'm
one.
a
That's
hot
funny.
mess.
Mariano.
All right. one's called The Road Is Always Better. It just came out today. Super excited for it. This is actually going to be my first time performing it, so cut me some slack, guys, if we have a couple of hiccups.
This is the debut? Phenomenal.
This is the debut, yes.
Great.
Sir. You ready, John?
Yeah, ready to go.
We grew up in a town a million miles of endless clouds, searching for freedom, but it didn't make a sound. We were born wanting more. We were raised up by the shore. The sound of the waves around, always knew we'd break free somehow. We're gonna find a way to make it through. It doesn't matter how long it takes, or as long as the dream comes true. 'Cause I'm a pioneer still dancing in the dark, and we could walk this road for miles and follow the stars. Sometimes it takes a winding road to see the truth, and the road is always better when I got you. Just two kids with a dream. Nobody else could believe. They told us to grow up, but we just traveled on. 'Cause we're gonna find a way to make it through. It doesn't matter how long it takes, or as long as a dream comes true. 'Cause I'm a pioneer still dancing in the dark, and we could walk this road for miles and follow the stars. Sometimes it takes a winding road to see the truth, and the road is always better when I got you. Cause I'm a pioneer still dancing in the dark, and we could walk this road for miles, follow the stars. Sometimes it takes a winding road to see the truth, and the road is always better when I got you. Thank you so much. That's the new single, The Road Is Always Better, written with Mary Howler.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
Where can people find you, Mariano?
Yeah, I'm on all platforms. If you search Mariano Malia, that's the last name is Mallia, and Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Instagram, all the social medias, wherever you go, you'll find me there. So
All the roads will lead there.
yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On your new single. That's phenomenal.
Thank
That's
you so
a beautiful
much.
thing. That's wonderful.
All right, I will put this down. Do you want me to grab yours for you?
Yeah, if you want to, it's just right there.
Oh
Thanks,
yeah,
Mariana.
and I should say, if you want to hear 300 of my demos with other people singing them, you can go to reverbnation.com/Jan Buckingham. And then I have a janbuckingham.com website that just tells about all my past and
Excellent.
all the songs.
Wonderful. Yes.
I'm gonna stick my neck out over here.
I'm going to scoot over and give you room. I love your singing and your songs. That was really nice.
Thank you so much. You too.
All right, well, this song's not out. It's kind of new. I guess it was written a couple days before Valentine's Day, so it's kind of a love song. I wrote it with Mr. Drake Lopez, so it's called Love Don't Leave. Life is full of ups and downs, left turns and turnarounds. out and play the hand you're dealt. Even when it hurts like hell, there's a few things I know for certain. Like Jesus saves and grandmas pray, and old square bodies get you A to B, and good dogs always find their way back home. For the sun sinks low, duct tape fixes everything. Cornfields grow after that spring rain. Some things in life are set in stone, and I know you know that hard days ahead are guaranteed. Love don't leave. Say money can buy happiness. Never had enough, I guess, to know if that's the truth or not. 'Cause you and me on a back porch swing, little bit more my speed, gives me one more thing to believe. Like Jesus saves and grandma's pray, and old square bodies get you A to B. Good dogs always find their way back home. For the sun sinks low, duct tape fixes everything. Cornfields grow after that spring rain. Some things in life are set in stone, and I know you know that hard days ahead are guaranteed. But love don't leave. And you can't control the man behind the curtain. There's a couple things that I know for certain. Jesus saves and grandmas pray, and old square bodies get you A to B, and good dogs always find their way back home. For the sun sinks low, duct tape fixes everything. Cornfields grow after that spring rain. Some things in life are set in stone, and I know you know that hard days ahead are guaranteed. But I ain't going nowhere, baby, 'cause love don't leave. Love don't leave.
Nice.
Yeah, that one's not out, but we're still messing around with it a little bit.
Sounds
Are you
awesome.
gonna sing one, Scott?
I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, I'd love
Scott,
to hear
Scott,
you do
Scott.
a driveway song.
Oh,
You
gosh.
know how I am.
John, what are you
You gonna
doing?
do that? Go for
Oh,
it.
all right.
Oh,
I'll
give
just
him
borrow
the
your
guitar,
guitar.
let
Here
him
you go.
play,
Do
because
Friday in the driveway.
All right, it
driveway
is
song
Friday,
is
so
so
I guess
good.
it's appropriate.
It is Friday.
and it is Friday, so it's
Yeah.
the perfect
What
day
really?
to do the driveway song.
It's a whole step down.
I almost feel like that song
Oh, it
should
is
be
whole step
the
down?
theme
Oh
song.
my
That's
god.
why.
What's that, John?
I almost feel like that song should be the theme song of the show.
Friday, here at Kingship,
And can they see you okay?
Music City.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it looks like
Let's see.
decent.
Oh, okay, good.
It's mostly in tune.
Yeah, there's something that's a little. The weather's been unkind.
I missed the memo about having a dog in the song. I'm the only one that didn't have any dog included.
Man,
so
I
I have to
write
write a
about-
dog song
I
now.
write about my dog all the time.
Oof. Maybe I should just use the tuner and that might help.
Show 'em this.
There we go.
There it is.
Much
There you
better.
go.
Woo!
Oh, I love this song.
We do it because we care, people. Wrote this with Billy Lee and Nancy Deckens, so I want to give them a shout out. And I won't explain the song like we talked about earlier. I'm just going to get into it. Upside down koozie on a mailbox flag. Smoke will be smoking tent so the boys and the girls and the beer don't sweat. About a quarter mile off the highway, happy hour starts at 4:58 on Friday. In my driveway, slipping on a downhill slide day. 3-day replay, crash at my place, take it all the way to Sunday. After sundown, sun will go down, garage doors up, party lights on Friday. In my driveway, Friday, in my driveway. If there's no room, park in the neighbor's yard. We'll come pick you all up in one of Olin's cars, fast. Hang by the fire pit all night long, pass the guitar and sing our favorite songs. And I'll hold a dance, flowers in my hair, everybody laughing in their lawn chairs. On Friday, in my driveway, slipping on a downhill slide day. 3-day replay, crash at my place, take it all the way to Sunday. After sundown, sun will go down, garage doors up, party lights on Friday. In my driveway, Friday, in my driveway. You don't have to leave, you can stay late, we'll find something to celebrate. On Friday, in my driveway, slipping on a downhill slide day. 3-day replay, crash at my place, take it all the way to Sunday. On Friday, in my driveway, slipping on a downhill slide day. 3-day replay, crash at my place, take it all the way to Sunday. After sundown, sun will go down, garage doors up, party lights on Friday. In my driveway, Friday, in my driveway, Friday, in my driveway, Friday, in my driveway. After sundown, sun will go down, garage doors up, party lights on Friday. In my driveway, we go Friday, in my driveway.
That's a fun one.
I think
Love
that,
that song.
man. Well,
Heck yeah.
and that's our show for tonight. But thank you all
That's
for
our show, everybody.
heck yeah,
Thank you for tuning in. Thank
Yeah.
you to all of our awesome guests.
for Olin, Wallace, Jan Buckingham, and of course Mariano Malia.
You got it.
Yeah, we're
Got it
learning.
right.
All right, here we go. Tune in next Friday. We'll see you there. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend.